think most people who are getting into online business need to be a little bit more okay with experimenting and even failing. In this video, I'm going to talk about the power of experimenting in your online business. This whole thing is an experiment. Your business that you're doing is an experiment. You don't actually know what's going to work until it works. So a lot of people are so afraid that something might not work like it's supposed to, or like they plan on it working, so they just don't try anything. And I don't want that to happen to you, because there's so much freedom to be found in experimenting. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about a little bit of my journey with my road of experimenting in my online business and how it's actually fueled my success and has not hurt it. And then I'm going to give you a few ways that you can work through experimentation in your online business, how you can set yourself free and grow your business by experimenting. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you what to know in terms of, do I keep going with this thing I'm doing or do I drop it? Because that's an important question. We're going to go through all that. My name's Lane. This is my channel. Love to help people replace their 9-to-5 income with a thriving online business without hustle, grind, or having to build a large social media following. If you're into that kind of thing, be sure to subscribe. Also go to lanesebring.com/supersimple. You can pick up my free super simple guide to your first $500 online. This is my complete system for how I built my business, my multiple six-figure online business. And if you can make that first $500, you set yourself up to make the next 500 and the next 5,000 and then 50,000 and then 500,000, and you're on from there. So that's my free gift to you, and you can take it and experiment with it all you want. So when I first got into online business, I truly didn't know what I was doing. I knew one thing, and that was I wanted freedom. I wanted to be set free from the job that I had. I felt trapped. I felt like my 9-to-5 job was keeping me from living my life. I hated having to have a job. I hated having to be at work. I hated having a boss who could just flip a switch and turn off my livelihood if I didn't perform correctly. I hated having a schedule that was imposed on me by another person. I hated having PTO, like where I had to ask another person permission to take time off. So I was very, very motivated to set myself free from the constraints of my 9-to-5. So what that required was me figuring out a way to make money that wasn't a job, wasn't connected to a job. So I had a few options, and so I started experimenting. My first go at this was all the way back in 2014. I just started a blog. And honestly, back then, I wasn't so desperate to get out of my job. I actually kind of liked my job back then. And it's not like I hated my job throughout the years. It was more I hated having a job. And there is a difference. I liked the work that I did. I liked the people I worked with. I believed in the work that we were doing, but I didn't like the feeling that I have to have this job. I didn't like that. Maybe you can relate. So you like to work, but you don't want to have to do it. So in 2014, I started this blog, and it was called preachingdonkey.com. And it was simply a blog. I wasn't trying to make money with it. I wasn't trying to figure out like how to monetize it. In fact, I remember my dad asked me early on, because I was working very hard on this blog and it was growing and I was building an audience, and he said, "Are you ever going to be able to make money doing this?" And I remember being somewhat taken aback, stunned, if you will, by the question, because I thought, how dare you? How dare you reduce this to making money? Ugh, it felt so icky. But I quickly changed my mind on that when I realized that there was nothing wrong with taking all the work that I had done and earning back some of the money, because at this point I was doing a lot for free. I was hosting this website, which costs money, but I was doing it for free. I was paying for the whole thing. And as I grew an audience, I realized, oh, there might be some ways that I can provide value to this audience and I can be paid for that in some way. So I started experimenting with trying to figure out what that looked like. And that first started with writing a book. In 2016, I wrote a book. And then I started a podcast, and I started looking at maybe I can make ad revenue on YouTube, because I started a YouTube channel and I was running ads on the blog, and I was doing all these different kind of piecemeal things to try to figure out, how do I make this into something that makes me more money. And where the experimentation really kicked off was around 2017, 2018, where I decided I'm going to go all out with the one goal in mind of making enough money on the side to leave my job. And I was like, whatever I got to do to figure that out, whether it's connected to preaching donkey or it's connected to something else. And so I went after that goal. I started going to YouTube, looking up how to make passive income. And if there was an idea, I did the idea. I just would do it. If somebody said review products, I said, okay, I'll review products. I remember the first time I did this, I was mowing my lawn. I had just bought this Honda lawnmower. And I said, okay, I'm gonna review this lawnmower. So I got through mowing the lawn. I got my phone out, put it on a little, book or something outside. Probably wasn't a book, but I put it on something to where it stood up, shined it on me or pointed it to me. And I said, here's my mower. It's the Honda HRX 217. Let me tell you about it. And I made a channel that was a review channel. It's now called Everyday Stuff. It's still on YouTube. I haven't touched it in a while, but I started a review channel. And my thought was, maybe I can do reviews and people click on those reviews and they buy the product on Amazon and I get a commission. And that actually made me money and still does. It's not a substantial amount, but at one point it was. I was experimenting. I looked into fulfillment by Amazon. I was like, well, maybe I can make a product and I can sell a product and Amazon can fulfill the orders and I can do that. I looked into drop shipping. I looked into writing more books. I thought, well, I wrote one book and then I wrote another one in 2019. I thought, well, maybe writing books is my answer. Maybe I can write like 5 books a year and figure out how to do that. I literally threw spaghetti against the wall, thinking, how can I make this work? What can I do to just make this work? And this is part of the value proposition of my course, 6-Figure Fastlane. One of the things I talk about when I tell people about my course is that I experimented with all of these different things and I landed on this business model that I do because I know it's the best and I know it works the best for people who want to teach the knowledge and skills that they have to other people. There's no better business model than this one. The one that I teach inside 6-Figure Fastlane, the one that I teach on this YouTube channel, where you have content that leads to a lead magnet that puts people on your email list, puts them through the funnel, and then offers them your product. Content, lead magnet, email funnel, offer. That business model is simply the absolute best for this. And the value proposition of that course is that it took me a whole heck of a lot of experimentation to arrive at that conclusion. It wasn't actually until 2019 that I learned that. And I finally went back to preaching donkey after doing all of these different things, reviewing products, trying to figure out anything that might work. I finally just kind of went back to preaching donkey and said, I already have an audience. I have a fan base. I've got people who have bought my books. What if I built a course? And then I built that course. And then I built another course. And then I started a membership site. And then I built a third course. And I had this whole suite of products and started doing coaching and consulting. And it became a full-fledged business. And eventually that led to me leaving my job 4 years ago and going full-time doing this. Now in 2020 is when I started this brand, this personal brand, which was originally to help people write and publish books because that's what I used to do. I used to write and I did it twice. My first book was a #1 bestseller in its category on Amazon. I thought, well, maybe I can help people who want to write books. It was an experiment. I didn't know how it was going to go. I also talked in those early days about personal development because I thought, well, I like to better myself as a person. Maybe I can make a channel about personal development and writing books and a little bit of online business, share my experience, and maybe this will turn into something. Well, eventually I dropped the personal development. Not that I don't want to develop as a person or help others, but it was more like I want to focus on the thing that I'm doing, which is online business and primarily with Kajabi. So I dropped the personal development and very quickly I dropped the book writing because what I found through experimentation was that I was helping people publish books. I was helping people write and publish books, but if they didn't have an audience, they were writing and publishing those books to no one. Like no one was there to actually read the books because they didn't have an audience. So now I teach online business where you can have a lot of different products. One of those could be a book, but it's in the context of a larger product suite. So you're including something like a book in a broader set of products, courses, membership site, coaching packages, and a book if you want to write a book. So again, I say all this to say years and years and years of experimentation was what helped me refine two things: what I actually want to do and what I'm actually good at. So first, what do I want to do? When I experimented with a lot of different things, there were things that I tried that I didn't like doing, but I thought, well, if they make money, then I guess I'll do it. Because again, my goal at that time was just to set myself free from my job. That's all I wanted. I remember going to my wife and saying, hey, I got an idea. I'm going to do fulfillment by Amazon. I'm going to build a product. And she was like, really? Like, you don't want to do that, do you? I mean, she knew that that was not my thing. Like, I'm not into doing that. I'm not saying I would never, but I'm just saying, especially back in those days, I had no resources to like build a product. It was kind of crazy, but I was just thinking in terms of what could I do? And I started to kind of refine that question of what could I do to what do I want to do? So do I want to make a product and sell it through Amazon, a physical product? No. Do I want to do product reviews and be the product review guy? No, although I did enjoy doing product reviews and I was actually pretty good at it. I did some reviews on this channel and I still from time to time do reviews on things connected to online business, but that is now my rule. It has to be something that's connected to online business or I won't do a review on it. So what do I want? And I started to realize what I really, really love is to get on video on YouTube and help people preach with confidence and clarity over at Preaching Donkey and replace their 9-to-5 income with a thriving online business here at my personal brand, Lane Sebring. That's what I actually want to do. Now, the second question is, what's going to actually make me money? In other words, what am I good at where I'm going to see a result? And it just so happened that in those two places, I see results. Multiple six-figure online businesses making $25,000 a month right now. And that is because it's the combination of two things. I want to do it and I am good at it. I mean, good enough at it, which by the way, little life hack. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be good enough. Stop trying to be the best. Being the best is so subjective and arbitrary because there's always somebody further along than you. There's always somebody further behind than you. Don't try to be the best. Try to be good enough for the people who you serve. And if you are good enough for the people that you serve, you will actually be the best for them because they don't need the best. They need you to show up. So there's my soapbox. All right. So those two questions are really what you have to sift through as you're experimenting. What do I actually want? And what am I good at? And you come to find answers to those questions by experimenting. You simply just have to put yourself out there and try a variety of different things. What I would suggest is that if you are interested in building an online business where you are sharing your knowledge, your experimentation could be way more purposeful and intentional than mine. My experimentation was watch a bunch of random videos on YouTube from a bunch of random different people and do what every different person said to do, right? I would suggest if you want to teach what you know online through online courses, content, selling your knowledge through paid products like courses, coaching, consulting, membership sites, the first step would be to get the super simple guide, lanesebring.com/supersimple. Start there and treat each one of those steps like an experiment to see is this something I really want to do? Is this something I could be good at? And iterate as you go. Because the thing that trips a lot of people up is this idea that for you to do anything or to set something into motion, you have to know the end from the beginning. You have to know that you're not going to fail. You have to know that it's going to be perfect. You can't know any of those things. You don't know the end from the beginning. You can't. You don't know that it's going to turn out like it's supposed to. Sometimes it just turns out way better than you expected. And other times it doesn't pan out, but you don't know that until you try. And putting the pressure on something where it's like, I'm not going to experiment with this. I'm not going to try this until I have the perfect plan. I can just go at it with no problem. That is a terrible, terrible strategy because you cannot know before you try if something is going to work. You have to just put it out there. So get rid of perfection. Don't try to be perfect. Plan on iterating, which means to change and make adjustments over time. Plan on that. That should be your only plan. I'm going to change my plan. That's it. And experiment with something long enough to decide, do I want to do this? And if the answer is no, stop. Just stop doing it. And am I good at it? So I see results. And if the answer is no, then stop. But if the answer is yes, I want to do it, and yes, I'm good at it and I'm seeing results, then double and triple down on that. And that's how you get from experimentation to a business that you love and that you're thriving in. So thanks for watching. Be sure to get my super simple guide and check out this video if you want to go deeper with some of these concepts. I'll see you right there in that video.